Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of AndrewsFootball.com. Welcome to my latest in the series, Top 10 Kansas City Chiefs of All Time. Now, if you haven't already, there's a button right down here. See it? Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. My channel, scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. Now, if you haven't seen the list before, I'm going to recap my list of top 10 Chiefs of all time. Number 10 is Otis Taylor. Number 9 is Jamaal Charles. Number 8 is Derrick Thomas. Number 7 is Tony Gonzalez. Number 6 is Will Shields. Number 5 is Johnny Robinson. Number 4 is Bobby Bell. Number 3 is Willie Lanier. And this video is the second greatest player in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you've been paying attention, the last 3 players listed were part of that 1969 Super Bowl winning team, part of that great defense. The 1969 Kansas City Chiefs defense were listed as the 4th greatest defense in the history of the NFL by the NFL Network. This particular player was named first team All-Pro with Bobby Bell and Johnny Robinson on that 1969 team. Now, Willie Lanier, Curly Gulp, and Jim Marcellus, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name, all earned Pro Bowl selections for that defense, but this player was a first-team All-Pro. And it's really funny because the Chiefs, who won the AFL Championship in 1962, ended up trading their backup quarterback to the Oakland Raiders, and the Raiders promptly that year went 1-13. So right after the Chiefs won the championship, they had the first pick in the AFL draft and ended up picking Buck Buchanan, who is my second greatest Chief of all time. And it's really interesting because now I'm going to use Wikipedia, and if you want to debate the validity of Wikipedia for this information, I understand completely, but I'm going under the impression that it's listed correct. But it's a little unusual because on the right-hand side, he's listed as 6'7", 260, but right next to that, it shows his professional career, and he's listed as 6'7", 287. So I'm going to go with 270 because Pro Football Reference, a page and a website that I use for this list and a lot of other information. It's a great site, something that I use, strongly recommend. Also lists Buck Buchanan at 6'7", 270. He's the largest Kansas City Chiefs defensive lineman, according to this site. And I think just if you watch film, you can tell he's the biggest dude on the defense. But according to Wikipedia, he's listed as running a 4.9 40-yard dash and a 10.2 100-yard dash. He's also, Eddie Robinson, the Grambling coach, called him the finest lineman he's ever seen. And for those of you who don't know, Eddie Robinson's won more college football games than anybody in the history of college football. Now, technically, Joe Paterno did, but that's a different subject. If you look winningest coaches college football all time, Eddie Robinson will be there. He coached as head coach for Grambling for over 50 years. Now, to take in comparison a 4.9 40, how quick and athletic that is, Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs, who I think is the best player on the Chiefs defense today. Now that's debatable, but I'm telling you right now, Chris Jones is the best defensive player on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Jones ran a 5.03 and Buck Buchanan ran a 4.9. So Buck Buchanan is not only the biggest lineman and biggest defensive player, of course, on the 1969 Chiefs defense, he's probably the fastest. And here's a guy who played in the 60s and 70s, but he's more athletic than the Chiefs' most athletic lineman today. Now, it also, by the way, it's kind of interesting. If you want to see something comical, look up Chris Jones' 40-yard dash. Basically, he has a wardrobe malfunction during his 40 time. But still, 5.03 is a good time. But according to Wikipedia, Buck Buchanan ran a faster time. So now, one thing is that Buck Buchanan was named to the NFL All-100 team along with Willie Lanier and Bobby Bell, but he was not named in 2016 when the NFL came out with the top 100 players of all time. He was not named to that top 100 list. I think that's a gross oversight, but Bobby Bell was 69 and Willie Lanier was 53. So why am I taking a player who the NFL didn't recognize one of the 100 greatest players of all time versus Willie Lanier, who was 53, and Bobby Bell, who was 69? The main reason I got Buck Buchanan at number 2 over these two guys, and I want to say first off that you could take 2, 3, and 4, and you can mix and match all three of them, and you're not really wrong. I think Bobby Bell, Willie Lanier, and Buck Buchanan at any order 2, 3, and 4 can be seen as a good list. But the reason why I got Buck Buchanan at number 2, and it's one reason, is Al Davis. Yes, that Al Davis. It's actually funny because after the 1962 season, Al Davis became the head coach of the Raiders in 1963. He takes over as head coach, general manager, and takes the Raiders from a 1-win team to a 10-win team. And when he was building the Raiders up, in 1967, in the first round, he chose a man by the name of Gene Upshaw. And in 69, in the third round, he chose Art Shell. And he said he went after these players so he could draft players to stop Buck Buchanan. Al Davis changed his team, his offense, and his draft strategy to stop Buck Buchanan. Okay? He wasn't drafting players to stop Willie Lanier. He wasn't drafting players to stop Bobby Bell. He wasn't drafting players to stop Johnny Robinson. He was drafting players specifically with the mindset of, we have to stop Buck Buchanan. This is the guy that Al Davis singled out as the guy that he needed to stop. And that's the reason why I got Buck Buchanan at number 2. When your arch rival, and the two best teams in the AFL were the Kansas City Chiefs and Oakland Raiders. And so when the Oakland Raiders look at the Kansas City Chiefs and they say, who's the guy we have to stop? And they say Buck Buchanan. Then that's who I think is more important to the Chiefs organization. I'm going to look at Al Davis and I'm going to take his word for it. And I'm going to say, okay, Buck Buchanan meant more to the Kansas City Chiefs than Willie Lanier and Bobby Bell, because he's the guy Al Davis singled out. Again, I just want to emphasize out of those 3 players, though, I think that if you put them in any order, it's not a bad list, but I think because the Raiders focused more on Buchanan than they did the other 2 players that were 3 and 4 on my list, that's the reason why I'm putting Buck Buchanan at number 2. Now, but here's the thing. This is my list. This is my opinion. I want to know what you think. I mean, this isn't me just talking. I want to engage conversation. What's your opinion? What do you think? Is Buck Buchanan too high on my list? Is Buck Buchanan too low on my list? Now, I will say this. If you made a list of the top 10 Kansas City Chiefs of all time and Buck Buchanan's not on the list, you're just wrong. So that's just it. You're wrong. All right. Now, next week, I'm making a list of honorable mentions because I really wanted to put so many players on the list and I had to whittle it down to 10. So next Monday, I'm going to come out with a list of honorable mentions, players that I want to give a shout out to that definitely deserve some consideration when talking about the history of the Kansas City Chiefs. Tuesday is going to be my Week 16 review. Friday is my Week 17 preview. And then, of course, next Saturday, live stream, 7 p.m. Central Time. Anything goes! So listen, if you haven't already, there's a button right down here. Why the fuck haven't you? But see it? I blew it up for you. See it? Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. I'll see you tomorrow.